is about measuring investment return using regression analysis. Regression analysis describes the relationship between two variables. Example, return on individual asset and return on market portfolio. Okay, the regression analysis can take this form where the return on asset I in period T is determined by the alpha plus beta multiplied by the return on market. Okay, alpha referring to the constant term or intercept of regression line, and it can be determined by using this formula. Okay, RMT refer to the return on market M in period T. Okay, and beta I is a beta of stock I. Beta is a measures of systematic risk in investment, and this is the plus the random error term. Okay, and to determine beta, okay, this formula can be used where we take the covariance between I and M, okay, divided by the variance of the market portfolio. Okay, next we will look at what is covariance. Covariance measures the degree to which two variables move together relative to their individual mean value over time. Okay, and it takes on this formula. Okay, when you have positive covariance, it means that the rate of return for two investments tend to move in the same direction relative to their mean during specific time interval. Okay, and it is affected by the variability of two return series. Okay, you see here. Okay, and we will look at the correlation coefficient. Correlation coefficient is basically standardized the covariance by the product of the individual standard deviation. Okay, and correlation coefficient of return basically standardize the covariance by taking into consideration the variability of the individual return series. Okay, and it takes value between -1 to +1. When correlation coefficient equal to +1, it shows that return of two assets completely move in the same direction. Okay, in contrast, if the correlation coefficient is -1, it shows that return of two assets move in a completely negative direction. Okay, next we'll look at the characteristic line. Characteristic line is a regression line across the scattered plot of return for the individual risky stock and return for the market. It basically it shows that the regression line that indicate the systematic risk of a risky asset. Okay, having looking at the how to use the regression analysis to measure the investment risk, let's look at an example. Okay, you are given 3 years. Okay, with this return on this amount of return on stock I and this amount of return received by market portfolio. And first, let's calculate the risk of stock I and market portfolio, and calculate the return for I by taking the sum of the return, average return. In other words, we get the average return for I and average return for M. Okay, and from this average return, we will calculate the variance of I, where variance of I equal to 3, and then we square root the variance, we'll get the standard deviation of 1.73. Likewise, you do it for market portfolio. Okay, the variance of market portfolio is 2.67, and square root the variance, we'll get 1.63 for the standard deviation of market portfolio. And second, we will calculate the covariance between stock I and market. By using this formula, it shows that the covariance is equal to 8, meaning that the two stock I and market are moving in the same direction, right? And next, we proceed to calculate the alpha and beta. To calculate alpha, we will be using this formula. You'll be using this formula. However, to use this formula, you need to determine beta first. Okay, beta is determined by using covariance of IM divided by variance of M. And covariance from our calculation is equivalent to 8, and variance of M is equal to 2.67. And from here, you know that the beta is equal to 3. Beta equal to 3 means that the stock I is very responsive compared to the market. Okay, and from here, you plug the figure into the equation. You will see that the alpha is equivalent to -11.